Hi, Martin. Welcome to episode 102 again. we, we, we had this
Please
whole
explain,
episode.
Dave.
Yeah, it's my fault. So we had the whole episode recorded last week. We did is it 7 games we went through? 7 or 8 games?
Yes.
We went through them all. We had laughs. We had banter.
It was brilliant.
We had the best joke you've ever told. Quite frankly,
We were sparkling. We were sparkling.
we were good.
Yeah.
Award-winning podcasting it was.
Yeah.
And I came to put it all together, and only my voice came through. Your track completely not come through. If your voice had been the only one, we could have gone with it. You
We
carried
could have
that.
gone away with it.
Yeah,
But
but
today we're both tired. We both got a lot of personal problems. I've been drinking.
yeah, it's a whole new go. So yeah, nothing sparkling in this one, but so apologies for the delay, but we had to start again.
Yeah.
We're going through Steamrollers today, so that's the 7 games of the tournament. We are going to talk also about the new feature on the Scenario Archive that I've been doing. Martin, anything else that you're going to be talking about?
Well, I'm a deputy.
Tell me
I think
more.
it sounds good. Deputy Barker.
Deputy Barker.
I am Deputy Barker. Legally, I'm a deputy. How about
Oh, this is from your mum's estate, is it?
that? Yeah, because I'm looking after my mum's money, and the Court of Protection did appoint you as a deputy.
Okay.
So I'm a deputy.
Nice.
I just think that sounds quite good. I
You should
didn't
get a
thought of that when I applied
badge.
for it. Yeah, I should do. I'm going around, go and hunt down some bandits or something like that.
Some care home bandits you're in charge of. That's good. I know that's been a bit of a slog, so well done for doing that. And that's
Yeah, it was a long time getting
it's
that.
it actually made me have a conversation with my parents about, look, it is a good idea to, whilst they're both relatively healthy, and it's all relative, but they should really pass on the the kind of the ability for me to sign over their their financials or whatever it is that they need to do, knowing that I'm not going to touch it at all until anything is needed. But it's been a very difficult situation for you, and I know you've slogged your way through it, so well done for the legal tape and everything.
It's been very difficult because I got the combination of like having to pay for care fees with her money, but not having access to her money, and so kind of being under pressure from that, but not being able to get the state to help her because she's still got all this money. So it's kind of sort of real caught in the middle in this kind of trap.
Right.
But here we are. We're through it.
Here we
through
are.
it now.
Okay.
So,
Well,
yeah,
if anyone could do it, you can do it.
Obviously, people listening from different countries and the laws will be different, but it's definitely worth doing it way before there's any question about the need.
Yeah.
Those sorts of
And,
things.
and how much ASL equipment has your mum bought this week?
So I have to take out a bond. I have to take out this insurance bond, which guarantees my mum's estate in the event that I misuse her money.
Oh.
So basically, if I spend all of I get myself a nice car or whatever it is with the money, they send me to prison, and then the insurance company will reimburse the estate.
Right. Okay. So you've been looking at a bridge too far counters, and you've been looking at what else have you been? It's worth the insurance bond, surely.
Yeah, surely. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good stuff with that. Good stuff. We've also got Toby's first part of his analysis of what to do with leaders. So that came through as well in between the time when we had recording. So we've got that as well to slot in. So we'll talk about that at the time. But it's on to Steamrollers. So this was Chaz Smith's suggestion for us. We are highlighting the work of scenario designers. So thank you to all of the scenario designers out there. We've got a special one in Gary Fortenbury next round.
Shouting into the storm.
That's right. But this one, Steamroller, off from Crucible of Steel, BFP 82. What a scenario, Martin! What a scenario! This was a challenging one, wasn't it? It was. So what we'll do is we'll talk about it when we throw up the first game, but just at a top level, 1943. We're in Russia, Russian Germans. It's a spreadsheet of a defence. I mean, I literally had a spreadsheet. So to work out all the fortifications and the points, between mines, wire, trench, anti-tank niches, pillboxes, fortified locations, foxholes, concealed counters, and then you're choosing between 3 different groups as well, that for the Russians, and 2 different groups for the Germans. basically a fairly fortified position up against
Yeah,
flamethrowers and the rest, wasn't it? I mean, was it
yeah,
potentially
yeah.
4
Germans,
flamethrowing?
very, very powerful force.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we both had a look at it. We both ended up with the defenders, so we're well versed on the defence side of it, not so much on how you should attack it. And we also have an interesting thing to talk about at the end about what we're going to do with two of the better players that we know, and how we're going to test out this scenario as well to a greater degree. But we'll come to that towards the end. All right, so let's take a look at the first game. All right, so we've got Dave Maresque and Tim Reed for the first scenario, first game. So let's have a look at the scenario and talk about what's going on. Russians defending on this board at the top here. They get to set up anywhere on this board, and the Germans are going to be coming on potentially on the left-hand side and on the bottom.
Yes.
The big debate I think we had between us, because we never disagree on anything, but the big debate we had was whether to take, for the Russians, 4 45L anti-tank guns or 2 152 artillery guns.
Yeah.
Talk me through your choice, Martin.
Yeah, so I did go with the 45Ls, and the thinking that I had is that there were too many German tanks for me to, okay, so the 152s will take out tanks, but they don't have rate of fire. There's only 2 of them, etc. The 45Ls with the 3 rate of fire are going to be very effective against the infantry. That's what I was really thinking. I was thinking concentrate on the German infantry. Without the infantry getting through, they can't take buildings. That was my thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
And four guns at rate of fire 3 is a huge output of, even if it's hitting at 4 5-power.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's quite the output, isn't it?
And a 4 flat attack is a good attack, isn't it? It's like walking into the mines at the lowest level, isn't it? It's a significant risk, especially when you've got 50-50 chance of a rate of fire.
That's right. So I took the 152s on the basis that I wanted something to be able to stop the Tigers potentially. So the Germans have a couple of, or they have is it 1 Tiger, 2 Tigers, 2 Tigers, and without that, I felt that you were having to try and find a very good and lucky rear shot, and even that wasn't guaranteed really. You've got a lot of half tracks which are going to have the advantage without those 152s. So I did have this kind of feeling of, well, okay, what would I rather, be powerless against the Tigers, or would I rather have something that you've got to be scared of? Now, of course, the problem is if you've got if you hit a 12 on one of those dice rolls, you're losing 50% of your guns straight away, and that's pretty grim. Yeah. So there's the downside.
My other thought is, of course, they can't be everywhere, and to some extent, once the German player knows where those 152s are, it becomes easier for them to manoeuvre around them.
Yeah.
But I didn't think I thought it was a very good choice for the designer to give you, because I don't think it was a clear-cut one. It was a difficult decision to make, I thought.
Right. I've got to point out my camera is still flickering green. I did have this problem last week and went out and bought another camera on the basis that it was still flickering. But I'm told it's a driver issue and there are no new drivers, so I'm not quite sure what's going on. I've got to wait for something to change. I don't quite know what it is. It's only Discord that it does it in, but now I've got a flickering green thing. So apologies for that. I hope that doesn't affect people too much. All right, let's flick through this game then and see what happens.
Okay. It's worth saying at this point, actually, that I've played both Tim and Dave, and both Tim and Dave are extremely good players, in my opinion. But here we go. Let's see what happens. So first off, any comments on the Russian defence, Dave? What do you think about? Obviously, there's a lot that we can't see yet, because obviously there'll be all the hip fortifications and things. Any thoughts?
So no, this one looks like a fairly standard defence. So we're going to talk about people's views on whether or not this scenario is breakable in terms of how the Russians can set up to defend. But this one is quite a widespread defend everything kind of approach, which is kind of the approach I think I took, and I think you took to some extent. So it looks like a fairly standard defence. We will see different defences in this. I think what's more interesting on this one is the Germans and them coming predominantly at the bottom only. A very, very small force on the side here,
Yeah.
and that's quite not unique, but it's quite different to most people's attack here. So let's see what happens here.
It's a little bit unusual to see such a forward unit, I think, as well as in M10. That's the only thing that perhaps I'd noticed that was different. Right, let's watch the. Sorry, let's watch the Germans coming on.
Oh, this is
So this is a surprise. A very small German force coming on from the left, and immediately bumps the anti-tank gun.
Yep.
Interesting to see how that happens, and then all this stuff along the bottom, a bit more perhaps what we might have expected.
Yes, yeah. That anti-tank gun is really unluckily placed, isn't it? Because it's one of those ones where you're going to catch something out late on in the game if you can. But
one of the interesting things, though, is if you are going to bring a fairly small force on from the left-hand side, you might as well bring them through and just double-check that there's nothing there. It's the sort of thing I might not even think of as the attacker, but we got... anyway, here we go. So, German attack developing. A little bit of smoke, providing a bit of protection. It's very, very thoughtful. A lot of infantry in half tracks, aren't they, at the beginning?
That's right.
And the Germans coming up more or less unscathed. Oh, did we have a shot there? Yeah. It's interesting, actually, that building, that wooden building on board 16, the bottom building, has, of course, got a level 1, and you can see reasonably well into the Russian defences. It's something that I found out the hard way.
Yes, yeah.
Which we'll see later.
So it's worth noting that the Russians can have a little bit of hip as well, other than their guns. So they've got these anti-tank crews, which are like kind of unique to Crucible of Steel, where they have little 228, or is it 128? I think it's 128 crews, isn't it? With an anti-tank rifle, and they can set up hip. So there is.
I'm a little bit surprised we haven't had a lot of, like, I don't know, wire and trenches and anti-tank ditches revealed so far. Just one, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah.
Quite interesting to see what the Russians have picked.
So the gun is broken due to what looks like is that I think they did an intensive fire and it broke. So this is it's a very strong German attack to start with, isn't it? They've got on relatively unscathed. You've Russian lost a gun straight away. So it looks quite strong for the Germans to start with.
Yeah, solid opening. Jumping in for the close combat with the crew, and everybody moving forward. And I think we're about to have the close combat, aren't we? Looks like it's formed into melee. So I think it's the Russian turn, isn't it? Okay. A little bit of skulking, bit of prep fire.
So this is one of the Russian options was the 45Ls here, obviously. The other option that the Russians can go with is the choice of a 50 cal, or they take a medium and the 2 tank crews. So we'll take a look out for what. Oh, they've gone for the 50 cal here because there he is there. And they've already lost one of the heavy machine guns to a broken.
Yes. Yeah. There's a few Russian units broken. I think this is what the game feels like a little bit. Yes. I think Russians are inevitably gonna break and rout.
Yeah, the melee on the left's got sorted.
Right. Yeah, Germans have won that melee. It's now X's turn 2. Bit of opportunity fire, bit of prep fire that's effective from that building. Funnily enough, Germans approaching them from right into that central woods. Were they dummies in the? In M10.
Yeah, I think it must have been, Here go the more tanks. So it's worth noting, so the Germans have got to take all the wooden buildings on this board. That's the thing. And so obviously the stone building at the back here isn't part of the victory conditions. And a relatively large amount of time here, 6.5, 7 turns, to pick it all up. The Russians do get a couple of reinforcements. They get a couple of
A couple
tanks.
of tanks come along turn
Yeah.
4, don't they? Yeah.
So
Yeah. On the east edge.
yes, yeah.
Another 45L has appeared.
Right.
Took a shot at a German vehicle. No effect. Right, the attack is going in on the building on the right-hand side now. They're moving in to assault that. Feels really like they're being swarmed, doesn't it? There's vehicles everywhere.
Yeah.
The Russians just don't have enough to be able to fire at everything by any stretch.
Yeah.
And you've got a big break, haven't you, in the... Yeah.
It's worth pointing out here, by the way, so Dave Moresk and part of the Kansas City guys are giving away their new publication to the winner of this tournament as well. So big thanks to those guys. The March Madness 2024 pack will be available at some point. They think probably towards when the end of this tournament is available. So look out for that. I'm sure we'll get it up on the Scenario Archive as well. So big thanks to those guys for the support.
Yeah.
Always good to see another March Madness pack from those guys.
Absolutely. And here they go with the assault engineers moving in. So that first building is falling on pretty much turn 2. It's kind of falling, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah.
Lots of Germans able to move forward relatively safely. Yeah, relatively
Huge
safely.
There. So it's like a springboard, isn't it? They're going to use this one and then kind of come around.
Yeah. So this is what I was thinking as the defender, is if the Germans take that building on the right-hand side with most of their force, they've got a long way to go to kind of work their way across the board. That's what I was kind of part of the way that I was sort of planning my defence. But there are troops in the centre and on the right as well, but much less strong. So it'd be interesting to see how this pans out.
Yes. Yeah.
This is defensive fire, I think, as routes now. Horrible sense in this game of how vulnerable the Russians are.
Yeah, that's right. They are. A lot of it's to do with the fact that there's isolated pockets, and you always, with Russians, you always run out of leadership, don't you? So the leadership here is pretty appalling. You start with I think you have 2 leaders with the equivalent of about 10 squads.
It'll be 3 in total.
That's right.
But it's not enough, as you say, with these pockets. But the other thing is, of course, the Germans have the manoeuvrability to make it impossible to find safe places to route to,
right, or
very difficult without the guns in the back to protect the rear.
Yes, yeah. We should mention there's a dug in. This tank here by SSR is dug in. So the Russians always get this.
Yeah.
And what's tricky about it is it's hard to reposition your troops, isn't it? This was the Russians tend to struggle to pull back because of the open ground in between the different.
Yeah. It really is a series of isolated positions, really.
Yeah. So one of the choices as well is whether you go for an 82-inch mortar, 82mm mortar, or the 76L artillery gun. I went with the 76L artillery gun. I think you did the same thing there.
I did the same, yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't seen either of those weapons yet, I think, in this. Oh, really?
No, that's right. I think you're right. I think you're right,
yeah. Okay. Yes, okay. All right. So we are currently in defensive fire.
There's the mortar there. The mortar is right on the right-hand side. He's just broke it.
Oh, right. Okay. So it's broken already.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, German defensive fire, breaking Russian units, advance.
So I had the idea, and I think we talked about this
routes. Yeah.
At the start was whether to have the mortar as a spotted mortar with one of the hip AT guys as a spotting half squad kind of thing, and that potentially has got some value because you've got this kind of hidden thing being spotted by a hidden unit.
A hidden thing. Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, there are woods where the Germans are most likely to sort of prepare for an assault, aren't there?
Yeah.
You can see. I think me and you both did something similar with the anti-tank ditches, kind of protecting a flank. Although he's left the M3 building outside of that
Right.
protection. So this is Axis turn 3. So this is the end of the Axis turn 3, I think. Oh no, this is the start of it. Sorry, this is prep fire. Okay. So I lived in fear of the German prep fire. Tanks is breaking out here.
Yeah, it's that flamethrowing tank.
Flamethrowing tank.
Yeah.
Absolutely a nightmare.
Yeah.
Only pinned the Russians though. No, they got a flame in the wood, in the brush. You could discovering the mines without any particular effect. Yeah, just moving very
on the mines.
Immobile, right? Okay, and that's not a great place to immobilize. I mean, that's one of the flamethrowing tanks as well.
No. I was looking at this guy here.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Not such a bad position. Yeah. At least he can see. Has got some targets.
Yeah, I think the flamethrowing tank is not yet immobilized.
No, no, you're right. Bring up the 50 Ls. Okay. Oh, lost a flamethrowing tank to another gun. So this is the 76L that comes with the order of battle. Yeah, so one flamethrowing tank down.
Right.
That's a big loss to the Germans.
Yep.
You can see that anti-aircraft gun is a monster if that gets to be used in the defence. But we got an acquisition from the Mark III on it at the moment.
Yeah, this my one didn't last very long.
No, nor did mine. Tricky with the minefields.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. But I think this is the key thing. The Germans getting through that is going to be. Then they're making some really good progress. Then flamethrower forward. Russians prep firing. Don't seem to have much effect. A couple of German units broken. One pinned. Defensive fire now, so very little movement from the Russians. That's the other thing; it's extremely difficult to manoeuvre.
Yeah,
there's very few opportunities to skulk and stuff. Most of the movement is routing. So we've got German prep fire now. So it's back to the German turn. Oh no, sorry, this is still Russian turn. I beg your pardon. I think they maybe just haven't moved the counter on.
There's just no Russian units left where that flamethrowing tank just sat and parked. There's just nothing left. Tanks came back.
And he's done the sensible thing by reversing or reversing out of the, through the trail break.
Yep.
Very, very sensible thing to do. The immobile tank is moving. No, I think there's another tank that's immobile, isn't it? Okay, this one going around the back here.
So it looks good at the moment for the Germans, doesn't it?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, even the guys on the left are beginning to kind of like approach their target. Some encircled Russians. Again, Russians breaking, routing into the anti-tank ditches. Oops. This is Allied turn 4. Tanks are coming on now. This is the Russian reinforcement tanks.
Right. Now, Steve told me that because this is Kursk, he feels that the tanks here should all be radioless for the Russians. I don't know from a historical point of view if that's correct, but Steve
was he saying a rules thing, or was he saying that?
No, just in terms of from a historical perspective, that's what it was.
Yeah.
So I was not one to argue with that. He said it very confidently, so I completely believed him. But,
that's right. So they're bringing them in here on the right-hand side, presumably to try to slow down this German advance by causing some jeopardy to its rear.
Yeah. The thing is, this is really not helping the defence, is it? It's
no.
you've got this one building here that you're trying to fight for,
Yeah,
and maybe solidifying this a little bit more.
yeah, yeah.
There's
Yeah, it's
definitely
that
some easier
central building,
targets
isn't
here.
it? U5 and 6, which is likely to, and the little buildings adjacent to it that are likely to hold out. All the Germans are broken in that building on the bottom of board 16, which is interesting.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, Russians have certainly had some success in doing
Yes. Yeah.
that. Both their tanks are intact at the moment. The new ones coming on, and they're going to do some good, I suspect. Okay, this is Axis turn 5. Loads of prep fire. Had some effect. Broke the anti-tank gun. They're approaching the building in L2. Oh, and they were dummies. That's interesting. Okay. So there's just the half squad there. Yeah, we've got the Germans approaching in some force now. Okay, lost another tank to the mines, and it was the flamethrower. I think the Germans are through that building now, aren't they? Moving on to that last building. Dealing with the Russian tanks. It's quite an exciting game, actually. I'm quite intrigued. I'm not 100% sure which way it's going to go.
And you've seen it once before.
Exactly, and I know who wins. Nice big blaze, but not going to make any impact on the game. Okay. Now you see they had a little bit of discussion about dice.
Yeah. Always a telling moment of the.
Somebody feels like they're struggling.
Yeah.
Okay. What's this? Allied turn 5. Yeah, units breaking in the buildings in the X column row.
Yeah, Dave was rolling quite well. 6.87 at that point.
Yeah.
Just looking to try, and Tim was. Yeah. Tim was
6.8.
Well, Tim was 6.83, so they both were rolling.
Both rolling well.
Yeah.
Both tanks have got. Both the Russian reinforcement tanks are out now. Both ablaze.
Right.
So that's 100% secured that building and the rear, so the Germans can move forward a bit more confidently, which is what we seem to be seeing. But we're very close to the end of the game, and all right, it looks like everything's broken in the centre, in the Russian centre.
And this was the scenario I think that went the longest. I think there was not many that went to the full sort of 6.5 turns.
Yeah. So it looks like the Germans have taken all the buildings except the ones in the centre, I think.
Yep.
But they are moving in on those, and they still have another turn.
Yeah.
It can't be.
Yeah.
I think can't be long till this is going to be over.
Yeah, you've got the close combat there. So you got that. You have got this guy here, the wounded leader in this 226.
Yeah.
Guys.
And there's another squad going in to try and take that building back, but he breaks. And it's looking like a German win. Okay, final turn. Okay, they're using the tanks to stop these guns from firing.
Yep.
Aren't they? They're moving everything so they can move the infantry freely.
And that's what those half tracks. Those half tracks are really good at doing that, by the way. So if you need to kind of keep a gun quiet, driving an empty half track up to the.
And if the gun blows it up, it's likely to be a burning wreck, which makes the gun much less effective as well.
Exactly.
Still losing tanks though. The Germans. Everything's on fire.
Yeah, there we go.
But that's where it ends, and it was a German win.
Yeah, well done. That was a very good game. Tim. Went the whole distance there. very
Yeah.
good, very good, very good.
I'd say two excellent players, and I imagine a very, very hard fought game.
All right, so Richard Webb as the Russians.
Yep. And our very own Andy Bagley as the Germans.
Yeah, well, they're both our own, aren't they? Really, both.
Yes, of course they are.
Both British players, lively on the tournament scene.
Yeah.
Similar kind of setup for the Russians, a little bit more forward, perhaps.
Yep, you've got the dug-in tank. It looks like very far forward.
Yep.
Which is interesting, and it looks like you got some infantry in Y10 as well. Also, we know already that there are some pillboxes.
Yeah, now pillboxes should be hip, shouldn't they? I think to start with.
Unless... I think he could have left them off board and put them on when they came into line of sight.
Yeah, now they're not in concealment terrain, so I don't know if that is.
That might be what he was thinking.
Maybe that's the rule.
Yeah. Okay.
But okay, go for it. Let's have a look.
So let's see what happens with this one. Oops, I got to hit that. There we go. Okay, here we go. Okay, so lots of guys coming on from the bottom. We've already got the wire appearing.
Yep.
Now this is interesting because this is separating the rightmost building from the ones next to long.
Yeah.
And they've used the different counters for the captured vehicles.
Right. Yeah, we've got the.
Yeah. But it's obviously the same. Already lost a half track, the Germans. Looks very strong in that building on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
It's got a really strong position there.
And this is, we're going to move into this discussion, but so there was a few players, you can keep going with the game, but there was a few discussions about whether or not you could really over-defend one set of buildings as the Russians and really kind of block out the Germans. And that was a viewpoint that I think Tom Rapetti and Jim Bishop, I think, had the feeling that may be potential. So we're going to explore that a bit more later. We'll talk about what we're going to do. And, I say we're going to explore it. But...
Because there is so much potential, I think, to make a defence really, really difficult. It'd be really interesting to see what happens if somebody really focuses their attention on one building or one section of the buildings.
Right.
Okay, so... we're already in Axis turn 2. Russians beginning to break in that key building on the right-hand side, or in the area defending it. Really interesting. So they got a little red line around the victory condition buildings.
Yeah, nice. And that's quite useful because I think more than a few times I missed the fact that, for example, these guys in T5 were actually in a wooden building.
Yes.
They just kind of just happen to sit directly on top of the whole building.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's really good because we use the V, don't we?
Yeah.
The big letter V. Yes, still coming forward, turns in a lot of strength against the buildings on the right.
So another choice for the 45Ls as well.
Yeah.
And he's gone with the 82mm mortar as well.
Which he's got further back, hasn't he, in the backfield? Yeah. It is worth keeping those guns back a little bit.
Yeah.
Just giving them a chance of surviving. Oh, it's the T6 break is important, I think, because that makes those buildings look undefended.
Oof, yeah. Was that the mortar that took that out?
Oh, wow. It looks like it.
I don't know. I'm not sure because there's no prep fire on the mortar.
Yeah.
Not sure there what took that one out.
I can't see what else would have been, unless it's not in the pillbox, is it? No, we haven't revealed that yet. Okay. Still, Germans starting to lose vehicles. They've lost another half track. And sniper. Oh.
Yeah, the sniper hitting that. That's pretty brutal.
Is that the heavy?
They took the medium out, I think.
Took the medium out, okay. Yikes. Still lots of Russians fighting in that building. Yeah. Right, all the wire appearing.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's going to be difficult moving on from there, isn't it?
Well, he's definitely surrounded himself.
Yeah.
It's an interesting choice to kind of prevent the encircling almost around the back, but I'm not sure that's a great use of the wire.
I guess the idea is that it'll take a long time to capture that building, and then they're hindered moving on to whatever's next.
Right.
But the Germans look like they might. Oh, look at the anti-aircraft guns suddenly appeared, very nicely positioned actually, to interdict that German attack.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for the Russians, M3 is now broken. So it looks like the Germans are going to take that building, and they're taking the buildings in the centre as well at the moment.
And this is the problem, that wire isn't going to stop these Germans here in the middle from capturing these buildings.
No, and it doesn't look like those buildings are strongly enough defended. Oh, some more guns appearing though. Flamethrower getting into action. I mean, he still doesn't control. Germans don't yet control the buildings on the right-hand side, and it's. I think most of the games we've seen, you would expect that to have fallen by now, but it's just because he defended it with so much more strength.
Right.
And of course, there's a cost to that. It looks like a lot of broken Russians now.
Yeah, the Germans look like they're going to have almost a
time.
Yeah, they've got almost a free run at these buildings in the middle.
Yeah, I think all the Russians have gone from the rightmost building now, though it's got a flame in it. Okay, Russians starting to prepare their defence for that centre. But yeah, there's Allied Axis turn 4. Be interesting to see what happens here. Starting to fire at the units in the centre, aren't they? The infantry's approaching it. Flamethrowers loose. It's going to be a nightmare. I mean, there's a danger of 1 in 6 chance of the wire immobilising tanks, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think they've called it.
Yeah, no, it looks like the Germans are going to do it here.
The defence has collapsed in the centre, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it's a tough one there. I think this is the problem with if you defend the closest building to the Germans in strength, the Germans really have the time to pound it. But okay, well played, Richard. Well played, Richard. Well played, Andy. Well done, Andy, the winner there as the German. So we have two German wins.
Yeah.
Can we see a Russian win? What's the next one then, Martin?
Let's have a look.
So it's my game against Steve Slump. We can see my hips, although Martin, you can't see them.
Yes.
Steve's a really nice guy. I'd never played him before.
I've never played him. I played the other guy in this game.
Oh, okay. Yes, you have. So interestingly, Steve was telling me that he played all of his brothers, or he's played his brother the entire set of Squad Leader, and they also did the Personal Leader campaign, and then they switched over to ASL, and he still plays ASL with his brother now, and his brother's 80 years old. So what a nice kind of lifetime.
Do you know what? Wouldn't it be great if you can still play ASL at 80 years old?
Yeah.
It'd be great. I'm hoping I'm still playing. I mean, I think the main problem might be having anyone to play against rather than anything else. But
listen, I'm not planning to give up anytime soon, so you're okay.
And you're younger than me as well, so that's handy. Yeah.
You'll be playing that sprightly 75-year-old. You'll be okay. All right, so my setup, stronger in the middle than anywhere else, and protected by the wire along the front ridge and the anti-tank ditches along the left-hand side, with gaps suitably placed so the mines potentially can grab the tanks as they come through.
Little traps.
Yeah, little traps. Heavily anti-personnel mines in the centre. Given that these guys aren't really going to be going anywhere, I took the 152s. I've got one sitting up here in N2. The idea being that it's going to cover this kind of this area here if the tanks start to come through, because obviously the anti-tank ditches across here and here will leave a natural funnel. And the other 152 is sitting right in the middle somewhere here, and it's just kind of covering quite a lot of this area here. We've got the dug-in tank sat in the middle. We've got the 76 back here. We've got a couple of we've got the crews, the 128 crews upstairs for a sleazy win if Steve isn't careful if he goes through this building. Because I'm not above sleaze, you know. I'm always.
So I know you're not above sleaze. How do you feel? Do you feel dirty if you were to beat him in that way?
Terrible. And
would you even be tempted at some point to say, "Oh, don't forget there is the possibility of hip guys"?
This is the problem. This is the problem with this scenario. This is a problem because although like it's an SSR, it's a Crucible of Steel SSR. So you've got to be aware, and we talked at the start of the game about the potential of hip units, but I still don't know the proper rules about when someone says, okay, so I'm going to put a control marker on this building here.
Right, yeah.
When they haven't got control. I'm not sure.
Do you know what? Because it's a devious way. If the rule is that you've got to go, oh no, actually you're not in control of it, it would be a very gamey way of kind of like revealing hip units, wouldn't it? I think that the truth is, I suspect, but I'd be interested to know what the truth is, that putting those control markers on is just an aid memoir.
Right.
And doesn't actually change the control. But that would be an interesting one. I mean, I guess the guys are in there having their lunch, thinking, well, we're in control of the building, not having searched it properly.
Right.
I think what is important is that you talk at the beginning of a game, and just go through like key rules that you think might be significant, and then if your opponent forgets, your opponent's forgotten.
Yeah.
But I had this with Tim. I'm playing a game with Tim where he has to capture some buildings one end of the board, and he goes past a lot of buildings that he has to capture that are not defended.
Right.
Well, he was so focused on getting to the other side of the board that he'd forgotten turn one. He drove straight past them. Right. And I thought, I'm literally ruining the game.
Yeah.
If I don't tell him this, what should I do? So I decided to do was to leave it a couple of turns, see what he does, and then I'll mention it, and I get some benefit because he's going to have to send some forces back to take these buildings. But Tim remembered. Tim remembered on turn two. But I thought it was really difficult because I could have. Had he not remembered, I could have won that game, but it would have been the most unenjoyable experience for him and for me.
And I've told this story many times, but I was at your house when you were happily married, and your wife wanted an early night, and I was sort of playing this losing game, and you were kind of looking at me and saying, like, "Why haven't you resigned?" And I was like, kind of shrugging my shoulders, being like, "Well, it's your marriage, not mine." Yeah. And I've got a hip guy that I'm going to spring at the end of the game.
Yeah. That's right, I remember it, yeah.
I'm surprised we didn't go halves on the divorce cost, Martin, to be honest. It's probably a contributing factor.
I remember you were in a woods off the top of a hill, just in this little valley, sat there quietly with a gun. Yeah. Obviously, that's how you got the hit, and I just forgot it existed. Yeah, completely.
And then snuck into the building at the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Awful.
You did awful. That happened.
Absolutely awful.
Right. Let's see if Mr. Slunt falls into any of your traps.
Yeah. So let's have a look. So he's coming on. Obviously heavy on both sides, and I think whilst that has merit because you don't necessarily know where the defenses are. The problem with this approach is that all of the Russian forces can bear their firepower on all of the German. Yeah. So you don't get anything wasted from the Russian perspective.
Yeah.
Now the advantage obviously is you don't have to travel so far because everything is not quite so far away. But that is a factor, and I think you're going to see that in this one where I'm able to fire a lot. Now I will also say before we even start, Steve's dice were not good. So we will start by saying that.
Okay. Yeah. I guess the thing is, if you think of it as like a series of individual battles, the German has to win all of those individual battles, don't they? Whereas if you're taking one building and moving on to the next. Oh yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
So anti-tank ditches coming in straight away. Lots of
I put everything on board as soon as I can just to avoid not showing it.
Right. Yeah. That's right. You got a little pillbox there. interesting them coming on there through the woods.
Yeah, so
Obviously,
he
got
hit the minefield straight away.
Minefields.
Yeah, hit the minefield straight away, and just went straight through
Wow.
it. Didn't mind.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There's an interesting place for him. I'm not sure I'd have done that.
Yeah, I thought that maybe the German player would consider trying to make a trail break through the woods.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well,
funny enough, Dave Maresque's gun in C7 would be quite handy against this sort of
this one
attack.
here,
really,
yeah. So
you know, this is that the tank's moved into.
Yeah, so this is really unlucky. So he's Tiger's bog straight away.
Yeah,
trying to come through, and this is one of those wood hexes you didn't have to go through. I know there's it's an anti-tank mine here that he's avoided, but meanwhile we've got another Tiger sort of sitting here, and my 152s are going to enjoy saying hello to this guy.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
This is the challenge.
Yeah.
So the
first flamethrower down.
Yeah, first one is the artillery.
Yeah. Another gun there. Well, that half track has got to be regretting some of its life decisions at the moment.
Yeah, straight away. Yeah, it did. It did.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, Steve did a lot of riders.
Nice shot. Yeah. Nice shot with the flamethrower tank into CC10.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, broke the medium machine gun, and that medium machine gun is pretty much out of the game now completely for the whole game.
And it kind of looks like that's what you've got really over there, pretty much.
Yep. And meanwhile, the Germans are breaking through on the left, so it looks great for the Germans on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
On they come, but the problems they've got is that this Tiger here is in line of sight of the 152. So there's that
kind of a question of time sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you get that shot off.
And we were talking a little bit about this as well. So the thing is that where the 152s lack the rate of fire, what they tend to do is they'll fire in the German movement phase. They'll get an acquisition, and then they'll hit and kill on the prep fire shot.
And a hit is effectively a kill, isn't it? It's a bit like a Panzerfaust in that respect, isn't it? Even against the Tigers.
21s to kill. And so obviously you're missing the rate of fire, but if you've got a very, very small chance of kills, you need that rate of fire shots to kind of get that. Whereas the 152s, you just don't need it.
You don't need it,
just avoid it on 12s.
Yeah.
But Germans making excellent progress on the right-hand side.
Yes, absolutely. And that flamethrower revealing dummies, but doing lots of harm as well.
That's right. Yeah.
And then you've got the infantry flamethrower moving into position.
Right. Now I've got my heavy machine gun. I've only just got the one heavy machine gun up here in this. U6 building, which has also got a great line of sight for the flamethrower guy here, and down here as well. We're going to see. Meanwhile, this has gone pretty badly for me. On the left-hand side, so my artillery gun is trying to stay hidden for as long as it can, but it's gonna have to reveal itself at some point. Steve making a nice move here, obviously getting into like an overrun position here, and then he's going to jump into this building here on M3 with the tank as well for a bit more.
See, yeah. You're losing that building, aren't you? Almost certainly. In 152, took out the Tiger. Yeah.
And meanwhile, the other Tiger now has immobilised itself rather than unbugging.
Wow.
So really unlucky from Steve. Really unlucky.
Yeah. So now the centre of your defence hasn't really been tested yet. It's only turn 2. Certainly turn 2, isn't it? But they're down on some of their best.
Yeah, and it's not particularly strong. If you look at what I've actually got, I've got a 248 with an anti-tank rifle hero now. A 458 with an extra dummy unit. And a mortar squad, and that's it. There's not a lot. Obviously, the heavy machine gun covering. Now, this is quite an interesting thing. What happens here? So these guys in R7 here, fanatic guys with the anti-tank rifle, which are a little bit painful, but not hugely. But they soak up so much firepower. You'll see the Germans here kind of amass into here, and just I mean, it was like 24, 28 firepower each time. 2 or 3 of these shots, and they were getting pins, and they were passing pins, and they were pinning on morale checks. I mean, it was, and obviously they fire back. You'll see, and they fire back at like 4-up-1 or something, and break 2 squads.
Wow!
And it's pretty grim.
That's what I love about this game. Actually, is those kind of like crazy stories.
Yeah.
We should all stop thinking about winning and just enjoy the stories.
That's right. That's absolutely true. Absolutely true. Easy to do when you're winning, to look at the crazy stories.
Yeah, that's true. I've not experienced that yet.
No. Yeah, artillery gun just enjoying itself even more over here.
Yeah. And Germans are being a bit too slow going through on the right-hand side to be able to counter the artillery gun with the infantry.
That's right,
Yeah. Still the Russians pinning and breaking. Oh, look at those defensive fire shots, those final fire shots. Those are the ones that you were talking about, yeah?
Oh, you'll see it gets even worse. It
gets even worse, yeah.
But meanwhile, the right-hand building has fallen.
Yeah.
I've got now. What happens here is so this tiger can see these X's here. So what's happening is the tiger's now going to follow the routed guys and fire at them again, and that's going to reveal the hidden units. So he gets a good enough hit.
I see. Yeah.
And they break. Yeah. So they will end up surrendering anyway. So they didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't have an impact in the game.
Yeah. So not only is he bogged, he's actually immobilized.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
He mired in there.
So I tend and then I tend to think, don't worry, a bog is okay.
Right.
But it isn't necessarily.
Yeah. The artillery gun opens fire on the tank in the building here. And
it's nice seeing the dug-in tank having it.
Yeah, dug-in tank was really good.
Well.
Dug-in tank was really good up here. So here's where the.
So he has gone through your minefield.
Yep.
And lost the half track through the mines, was it? Or was it from the end?
No, it was through the mines,
Yeah. Okay. Gems are beginning to break through, though, through the wire.
And you're seeing, this is where the start of the firepower is building up in the centre.
Yeah.
And all the while that these guys are firing at the fanatic guys, the heavy machine gun is able to fire back and cover.
Yeah.
And the Germans, having lost too many units on the tank side of things, are going to struggle here. At this point, I hadn't even realised that I was getting reinforcements. I saw the star and I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, what's going on? I've got more stuff."
Amazed how effective even the 150 on the left-hand side has been. It's just been, the flamethrower's just broken him, but did a lot of damage.
Now, what you'll see here, this is quite a fun story. So the 152 is going to get captured, and it's going to turn its gun, and it has a great line of sight to this building down here.
Yeah,
and they even manage a hit on
that. That's good to see, because you don't often see it, do you?
No,
no. Okay. Right, here we go. Let's scoot through a little bit to Axis turn 4.
So Steve mouthed this tank here in the middle 2 or 3 times, and then finally broke it.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of prep fire going on there.
I think this guy's immobilised as well here.
Yeah.
He's got the CMGs gone.
Okay, so this is Axis turn 4. A lot of prep fire, more Germans moving forward.
So here, I think Steve thought that this building up in X1 was part of the preparations.
I see. Right. Yeah.
And then came around and
the artillery guns taking them out.
Yeah.
Right.
But the thing is, the Germans have successes. That every time they attack en masse, they do kick the Russians out. It's just a question of this centre building and how much they can do here. Here's where the firepower has started to build up against that fanatic, and finally the fanatic guys have been eliminated, but at the cost of quite a significant amount of breaks to the Germans.
Yeah, absolutely. Now the tanks are nice; they're bolstering the defences there.
Yeah,
but you got some Russian units starting to break, and that's from the artillery gun, is it?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, this artillery gun's
But
fired.
there's lots of Germans broken too. I think this might be where the end of the game is. It?
It's very close.
Oh,
Yeah.
no,
So
no.
one of the challenges here is I can't route these guys. I would naturally want to route these guys back to here, and it looks
Yeah.
very unusual that they're not routing back. And it's because they're in a minefield, or there's a minefield back here, so they can't really route
Right.
back.
Okay.
It just looks a bit awkward.
Yeah. Germans still
Yeah,
advancing.
it's still pushed on.
This is it, I think.
Yeah, and this is where Steve and so
And
like I
it
said,
kind of looks like the Germans aren't defeated, but if you look closely, everything, like a lot of the infantry's broken at this point, isn't it?
it was, and Steve's personal morale was much better than mine. Mine would have been at least, and he did hold on. I think a lot of this is just broken German units, and the problem is you're attacking into quite a strong kind of central area. We're still with one artillery gun around.
And you've got the minefields as well, going to make it difficult from the last turn or so to get into that building. And you've got upstairs and stuff like that.
So we called it there. So Steve's dice were terrible. Mine were good. Steve had great dice rolls on pin task checks and nothing else. He rolling threes on those. And every time he rolled a 3, whatever it was, or 5, my sniper would jump in. And of course, my sniper I think my sniper started right at the bottom of this down here somewhere. And my first double 6 was able to bring it right back into the game. So it was great to have that. So I mean, Steve did well. Didn't get any luck at all, and manfully resigned. But I think lasted a turn longer than I would have done. And that was mine. All right.
Okay.
So one more for the Russians. Well, one for the Russians. So 2-1 so far. Let's move on to the next one. Yep. Okay. So Mike Grogan.
Another 2 Brits.
Mike Grogan and Steve Hall. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do we describe this setup? I guess this is kind of, I'd say, standard. I think this is.
Yeah, I think so. It looks very similar. There's quite a strong force coming in from the left-hand side. We haven't always seen that.
Right.
The force along the bottom, kind of a little bit spread out more than some, but there have been a couple of people who've attacked like that. But otherwise, I think the defence looks very sort of standard.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's roll it.
Okay. Let's go. So, okay. Germans are coming on. This is Steve Hall as the Germans, isn't it? And Mike Grogan as as the Russians. Okay, so tanks moving forward, taking up positions. We got a very forward dug-in gun tank. Sorry. The Russian. This German turn 2 already, is it?
Yeah. Russians didn't do anything.
Yeah. Well, it's so good keeping that. In fact, you want to keep that concealment, don't you, in a scenario like this, where the firepower against you is so overwhelming. Okay, so we've got some defensive fire now from the Russians. There's advances, so this must be. Yep, we've got some prep fire. Quite a bit of prep fire. Defensive fire.
Is this a scenario that's got the most flame-throwing equipment that we've played recently? I mean,
I don't think I've ever played a scenario with so much flamethrowers. I mean, potentially 4, isn't there?
Yeah.
I think that's right. Yeah. So this is the beginning of turn 3. So we've moved quickly. Right, we've got the Germans now beginning to get into position to try to start take buildings. You've got 45 building locations turning up, making that a little bit more difficult. There's lots of mines over on that right-hand side. Germans hunkering in the woods there. Flame-throwing tanks getting into position. Now, this is an interest. I think this is an interesting use of the wire here, separating those 2 sets of buildings. I put quite a lot of thought into trying to place trenches so I could move from one building to another in that centre.
Right.
But we'll see what happens to me shortly. This is Russian prep fire, German defensive fire. So the Russians seem to be like sort of shrugging off some of these shots.
Yeah, the Germans are still in good condition, though, aren't they? In this one,
they absolutely are. Yeah. guns appearing, tigers breaking through, all sorts of things going on. I'm not sure that it is Russian turn 4. I think it's obviously German turn 4, isn't it? Not Russian.
Yeah.
I think the counter's in the wrong spot.
Oh.
Germans lost a tank.
Yeah, 152s.
Yeah. Right. Lots of the mines just broke a big stack of German units of infantry. The 152 is out of action at the moment, I think. Oh no, it's not. It's prep fired. I'm talking nonsense. So we're gone to turn 5 and there's no Russian tanks.
Okay.
Is that an oversight? Or is he using an extension so we can't see them? Or something?
I don't see them.
Don't appear to have come on. Yeah. Okay, Germans have lost a couple of vehicles now, and that's the end. So this was a Russian win, and again, I think this is one where it's relatively early in the game. It looks like it looks too early, but you look at the Germans, they're broken. Yeah, the infantry's broken.
Yeah, the centre
or the ones that are in the right position.
Hold long enough, and you've got enough guys in the fortified location here.
Yeah.
That will just hold them up.
The Russians are holding out kind of in a number of different places, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think quite effectively. Yeah.
All right, so they win without even using their reinforcements here. So
yes.
All right, so well done, Mike.
Okay, well done. Yep, and
lucky Steve.
Yeah.
All right then. So should we look at your game then, Martin?
All right. Okay. So are we evens on the?
We are 2-2. Yep, 2-2.
Excellent. All right. Excellent.
Okay.
Okay. So I thought right from the start, I thought playing Jim is going to be really, really interesting, and I'm so glad he had all these tools to teach me how they should be properly properly used. Jim did all the kind of like psych tricks as well to kind of like psych me out at the beginning. It was utterly unnecessary because I was completely intimidated before we even began the game.
Right.
But if I'm not giving away, I probably am giving away too much really, but getting spanked like this is an honor, you know. I don't think I've ever felt quite so dominated as I was in this. So let's watch them coming out. Straight away coming. I mean, stuff's coming on, but masterfully coming on and just like avoiding any real danger of getting fired
bogged in the same place that Steve's.
Bogged in the same place, yeah, absolutely. That was the only bit of good luck I had. No, that's not true. It's interesting because when the infantry's walking, it's difficult to get it very far on turn 1. So I think that's this is his advances. Very little has happened. I don't think I've fired anything. Then it's my turn, and all I think I do is a little bit of like manoeuvring, really, just to try to avoid giving him any good shots. Of course, he's bogged in that good place.
Yep.
And so this must be German turn 2 now. He's already up in that building.
And you lost your dug-in tank?
Yes, he got a shot in. I mean, he mouthed a tank as well, but he's got a shot from a V4 at it. Of course, he knows where it is. He's put that there specifically for that purpose.
Yeah.
He's got a lovely bounding fire shot from, well, it's a opportunity fire, isn't it, in 04. He points out to me that he can see nearly all of the hexes in that central building.
Right.
I'm kind of hoping he's going to struggle to take H3, even though I haven't actually got anything in the building at the moment. And he's got that beautiful little bunch there just in front of the woods, on board 16. Anyway, he goes straight to work on me.
He's smoked you out in the CC9.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like everything gets taken out one by one in its turn. Yeah, lost the so just breaks the AA gun crew. Yeah, just struggling already to try and find places. I'm trying to work out should I take a 12 up 2 or a
Yeah.
or a 6 flat. You know, it's those kinds of things. And this is his turn 3. Got mouth on that gun, but it's that tank, but he's still getting good use out of it. Flamethrower going around the back. So he's already so confident of taking that building.
Yeah.
Running the vehicles off.
People got other things to do. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And now he's going into this. So I thought that was a nice place for the anti-tank gun, the 45L. But he made quite short. Took it out in short order.
Bogged on the wire.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm just trying to slow him down. I thought I'm going to get this half track, but no, I didn't.
Well, they're small and they're moving, and there's orchards and blah blah blah.
And I've got prep fires still to go.
Yes. Okay, you got me.
Yeah, I'll get him then, obviously.
Yeah.
They see the stuff is just breaking. It's hard work. He's still not correct. So here I put the 45L gun on level 1 because it was a fortified building, but I misunderstood the rules. You have to fortify the ground level and level 1.
Right.
So I take that off now. Jim wants me to move in and put it somewhere else, but it just doesn't feel right to do that. I've got too much information. So I do actually take it off. I don't know why it's still there. I'm sure we do take it off. Are we having a discussion about something? I'm not sure. So yeah, I do feel like I've got a little bit of strength in this situation in the middle where I've got like trenches and pillboxes. The pillbox is there for rallying. Yeah, he's shot coming in there.
Jim was quite confident at this point, wasn't he? I think I got an email from him saying, "You're in for a world of pain now."
He was confident. I thought the confidence, in some respects, is a part of his game. It's a part of the kind of you're not going to win this, but we'll have a good time, whatever.
Yeah.
But I do think he was confident. Yeah. But I was thinking I had a chance because I took out this half track over there. I've got the gun he didn't know about, and I've got infantry in here.
Right.
If he moves into this, so I think I kind of got the chance of hanging on to that building. Right. And that doesn't mean I'm going to win, but it does mean that he's going to have to go out of his way quite a bit to get back over there. I'm sort of thinking. Various close combats going on. I don't think they mostly go my way. This is right. Bringing my tanks on, I really, really underestimated how easy it would be for his Tigers to hit my tanks.
Yeah. Strolled past like it was like a duck shoot, like a literal, clay pigeon.
It really, really was.
Just...
So he's in that building on the left-hand side, and I get some good shots at him, but he brushes them off. So that's it. I think that's that building is going to stay fallen now. But there's all sorts of stuff going on in that centre. And it's not all, some of it is going my way a little bit, but the thing is, he's still got plenty of time. Yeah, and he's just crowding tanks in there.
Yeah.
Infantry. And I think I'm about to resign. There we go.
Yeah.
So he hadn't mathematically won yet. But yeah, I am really, really struggling. Yeah.
Okay, so 3-2 for the Germans, but 2-0 for the 152s. I'll add. So,
that's a very good point. Very good point.
All right then, let's move on. Well played, Jim. And
it was. Do you know what I have to say? I said it before. I'll say again. It was an honour to play against someone who was as so capable. Has got a lot to learn from Jim.
Now, was that the first time he's beat you, or the second time? Because you've beat him
So so I think this made it a little bit more of a grudge match. I played him in Blackpool, and I think I was a little bit lucky and stole a win from him.
Nice.
And Jim, I think, was determined to set the record straight about who's the better player here, and did that very, very competently.
So you beat him when no one's watching. When the world is watching, Jim gets a win.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's a fair description.
Let's move on.
Right, so we're now going to go for Leslie and Repetti.
Doug Leslie and
Tomo Repetti.
Okay. So Doug as the Russians and Tom as the Germans. I guess this one's an interesting defence because we've got the stronger left-hand side defence. This one looks like we've seen more towards the centre, and this one for the Russians is more. And interestingly, Tom is not attacking his strength on the left-hand side. So
no. And it's also worth saying that Jim felt that a defence focused on that building, is it M3, might make it very, very difficult for the Russians to win this.
Right.
I actually feel like with the enormous strength the Germans have, I think with kind of most players, probably this scenario favours the Germans slightly, perhaps. But with a very skillful one, the question that's been raised is it possible for a skillful defender to essentially make it almost impossible for the Germans to win by focusing on that building?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's see what happens here.
Yes. Here we go. So, and Tom Repetti is off. Quite a bit of defensive fire.
Yeah. So Tom also raised this, didn't he, as a potential? We'll carry on with the game, but Tom also raised this as a potential that a stubborn defence around one building for the Russians could well make it very, very difficult for the Germans.
That's right. Yeah.
So we're gonna.
So he feels that, and of course, that's exactly what I think it is that Tom is facing. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got the 152 right there, protected by the anti-tank ditches. So I think that's where the focus of this game is going to end up. Is going to end up going.
Yeah. Very lightly defended on the right hand side.
Yeah. Still able to Russians still able to skulk on that right hand side, but I don't think those buildings will last long.
They're all dummies.
They're just dummies. Wow. Going around the back is even the back's defended with the wire.
And interesting, look how much force there on the right hand side that Tom's committed to effectively two dummies squads or three. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Now of course they're not held up for long, but we're already on turn.
Yeah.
Hang on, what turn are we on? I can't see.
Two.
We're on turn 2. It's already a significant amount of time taken up to chase after a couple of dummies. Yeah. Interesting play. You've got to have a little bit of courage to do that, haven't you? But I think it's worked out for Doug, I think, in that respect. Yeah. Battle for the centre seems to be going quite well for the Germans now, as you'd expect it to. The Russians are effectively in no danger of losing the building on the left-hand side right now. There's nothing. It's not being challenged yet.
And we haven't talked a lot about this 10-2 either. This German 10-2 leader that we've kind of just hinted at. But I mean that is quite a significant asset as well, isn't it? That the Germans have.
Absolutely. Yeah. They have everything. The Germans have absolutely everything, including, as you say, the 10-2. So really engaging in that firefight in the centre. Good reasonable amount of Russians there. But I think, gosh. Yeah, look how much strength there is around M3.
Yep.
Yeah, it's an awful lot of stuff there.
Yeah, and that's it's a bit of a morale sapper, isn't it? Knowing that you've got 3 turns left or whatever to just take that all on.
Yeah. I mean, all they got to do is get into one building.
Yeah.
But it's assuming they've taken everything else. Of course, they've got everything else to do as well. And I think Doug's doing quite a good job of making that take time.
Yep.
Anyway,
Germans lose a tiger there, did they? I think.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. Yeah. So everything is dangerous at the Germans. I think this is where he's resigned. Yeah.
And this is where.
Tom has resigned.
Tom resigns. Yeah.
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 Is going to be able to take the buildings in the middle. It's really difficult. I mean, it's probably not impossible, but it's extraordinarily unlikely that he's going to get past everything.
Right.
You've got that big stack in there, concealed, surrounded by is guns.
Yeah.
And I think this is exactly the issue that I think is emerging from the scenario. Is it possible to make a defence like that so watertight?
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah. Is that an early resignation? I mean, I guess. I mean, the Germans have time, and they
Yes.
do have the. I mean, but it is. I mean, it does look particularly difficult.
Four more turns.
I mean, you've got potential squad. I mean, we don't know how many of these are dummies in here.
No.
But it does look.
But you've
like
still got the 10-2 with the with a couple of medium machine guns with him, and a hero makes him 10-3. But if you can get close enough,
you've got Russians in all of these anti-tank dishes here as well.
So do we know if any of those are dummies?
We don't know.
No. Yeah. It's extraordinarily difficult to see where Tom's got 4 more turns, so it feels like he's resigning too early. But it's very difficult to see how is he going to get into there.
Yeah.
Really difficult to see.
And you've obviously got the 2 Russian tanks coming on as well, which will harry the Germans from the rear here. So that will take up some resources to at least keep them at bay.
And he's not yet in control of this building,
right?
Or this building. There's still unbroken units in both.
Right. Yeah.
And you've still got the artillery gun here, although it looks like its days might be numbered.
Yes.
And even just getting under the wire here is going to be difficult for these guys. This is a very powerful unit, but where's he going to get into position to fire from?
Right.
We don't even know what this is yet. Presumably, there's another gun there. Yeah. And you've got a gun here that doesn't appear to. Probably has fired, actually, hasn't it? Yeah.
Do we know where was the dug-in tank? Is that this one here in the middle?
I can't remember now.
I think that might be here.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, and this is the challenge. So what we're going to do is we're going to get Toby to come up with a defence, and you're going to get some guidance from Jim as to how to attack it. I'm going to get some guidance from Toby how to defend it, and we'll play it out, and we'll see what we make of it on a defence where we solely focus on one. Maybe this building. Maybe Toby comes up with a different
plan, maybe. Yeah.
All right. We got any others to look at?
Yes, we have.
Okay, so let's go for the next one. Okay, so we have Paul Legg as the Russians, Tomo Lucari as the Germans.
Yes.
Paul recently lost his mum, very sadly, so our thoughts go out to Paul. That kind of slowed the games down a little bit, of course, completely understandably. So, Paul, I hope you're doing well. I mean,
we had another game with Peter Albrecht and Ryan. We've not been in touch with.
Right.
Been able to get in touch with Ryan.
So
we hope things are okay with him.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Ryan's a good guy. And poor old Peter's a fairly new player, so Peter's now into the thick of it, into quarterfinal.
So he's going to be playing against the winners, isn't he? From the
winners bracket. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right, so let's have a look at Paul. So right now, we're 3-3 with the Russians and the Germans, and every Russian win has had the 152s. Will
I
we
don't believe
see?
that you're making a big thing of this.
I love it. I love the 150 seasons. Go on then. Let's see. Let's see how this one goes.
Okay, here we go. So this is the German attack beginning. Okay, so we've got interesting. You've got Russian units in, right out there on the margins there on that wood. Quite a nice place for it, actually.
Yeah.
Causing a little bit of a headache. Fully engaged on turn one in the right-hand building. Or attack. Still can't see many defences.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit of wire, a little bit of anti-tank ditches, but it's quite
Pillboxes, of course.
spread out.
Yeah. Maybe a lot of mines out there, perhaps fortified locations.
Yeah.
Sort of thing we wouldn't see.
Well, the pillboxes, the pillboxes were quite costly.
They're quite costly, yeah. This is still German turn one. Oh no, I think they're not moving on. Yes, it.
No, it can't be.
No. It's obviously German turn two, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, they've not moved the counter on. Flamethrower being very effective.
Yeah.
As flamethrowers often are.
Yeah, exactly.
But anti-tank gun at the back there, catching it, misses.
Oh, well, he's gone with the 45 Ls, so we know the result.
Yeah. Love those 45 Ls.
They call them the losers.
I just wish I'd done a better job with them.
45 losers is what I call those.
You just like the old fat boys.
I do. So this one's like there's all sorts of battles going on all over the place, isn't there?
Yeah, fascinating. Yeah, very different to some of the other games.
Yeah.
I mean, nowhere. It's only turn three, and nowhere is the Germans completely taken anything.
Maybe the centre now, I think.
Maybe in the centre now, yeah. But it's vehicles, isn't it?
Right.
The infantry can move in it, yeah. But he's broken virtually everything in the centre that's Russian. All the Russian stuff's broken. But anyway, they're beginning to break into. But look, all the prep fire on right hand side, no effect.
Yeah. And when have we said that before? Prep fire, no effect.
Flamethrowers, though, so effective in this particular game, this particular playthrough.
Yeah.
Nice little cluster of guns and pillboxes and things. Oh, nice long distance shot there. There's quite a lot of strength on the left. I don't know whether the Germans are going to be able to push through that. I suppose it's only turn three, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one to know who's even winning this at the moment. I think the Germans look like they've got it, just because the Russians have been kind of split up, so you can take them on and then hit them and then move on to the next one.
But it's awkward that they've won neither the left nor the right.
Yes.
But they've won in the centre. Well, which way do you go with your?
Right.
Which way do you take your flamethrowers and stuff? Especially when you got Russian guns not very far away. I agree. I don't think it's really obvious who's winning. Mind you, just had a load of Russians break in final fire. That's probably helped.
We're coming up to the Russian reinforcements shortly.
Yeah, got one more German turn before that, haven't we? Yeah, Russians beginning to struggle in places now. This is German turn 4. Right, so Tomo looks like he feels like he's got the time to go and chase after the guns.
Yep.
Around the sort of W2 kind of area, which suggests at least he thinks he's winning this. Has he got the M3 building yet? Not yet.
Not yet.
No. but it's just open, isn't it? He's got it. Okay, and it looks like he's going to get the right side hand building, although there's still good order Russians in that building. And there come the tanks. Yeah, Russians being very stubborn in the right-hand building.
Tanks like destroyed.
The Germans are all broken. Yeah. Oh yeah.
The Germans gone berserk down the bottom there.
Love it when you get a berserker.
Yeah. Nothing changes a game more like a berserk unit in the middle of something that looks like it's deadlocked, and then suddenly tanks coming back to defend. Yeah.
See, everything's moving. So I think the Germans have won everywhere except that final building.
Right.
I think so. Apart from like finishing things off on the left-hand side, they're bringing stuff around to help with this final attack.
Yeah.
But we're in turn 5. This is one of the longest games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Germans cleared out that pillbox.
They certainly did, yeah. And have they cleared out the building now? Yes, I've got the flamethrowers created a flame in. There's just one unit left, I think, in the building that's Russian. And it's just broken.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that we must be close to the end. German turn 6. Yeah. Oh, there's still
there's the 248 up in the top on the bottom right hand, which just now has been beaten.
Yeah.
And I guess that's it.
And that's where he's resigned.
Oh, that was a close one.
It was a very good game. And I love the stubborn resistance in that final building, CC9. Brilliant.
Well done. All right, good stuff. Well, thanks very much, everybody, for taking part in that one. It's always good to see so many different style of games and everything. I don't want to be on the screen too long because my green camera flickering is driving me mad, so it's driving everyone mad as well. So we'll have a follow-up on that. You've mentioned Gary Fortenberry's scenario choice, and you're going to do the draw for the next round and send the details out.
I will announce as soon as this video is uploaded, I think.
Brilliant. All right, I've got one little thing to do, which we're going to talk about the scenario archive, but right now we'll do Toby's introduction to the leadership usage based on leadership quality. Take it away, Toby.
So what I'm going to look at today is use of leaders. And I'm going to turn this into a two-parter. So part 1 will be looking at 6+1 and 0 level leaders, 7 zeros, 8 zeros, I suppose 9 zeros as well. And the first thing to remember is what can all leaders do? What are they all equally good at? And one of those things is helping units move faster and carrying high portage point value support weapons. So a 6+1 leader can carry as much and get a unit forward as much as a 10-3 can. So that's a good use of the low value units, leaders I should say, is to get stuff moving. Another thing they can do equally well, nearly equally as well, is enable both banzai charges and human waves. Now, perhaps 6+1s aren't that good, but because such troops are often vulnerable, you don't usually want your good leaders leading them, because they'll often get shredded if they're in any way vulnerable. So, the 0 level leaders are better at banzai and human wave charging, I would argue, most of the time. And then attacking. Okay, well, what I find is in when I'm attacking, I often, depending on how many leaders you've got, of course they can rally, but they're not very good at it. They can rally units. But if you've got a spare few, then I quite like using 6+1s as scouts. They've got that good movement so they can just charge forward, bounce into concealed units, and often your opponent's not even going to bother shooting at them because they're the lowest of the low. And even if they do, well, you've lost virtually nothing. So low value leaders are good scouts, actually, because of the extra movement, and that it doesn't really often matter if you lose them or not. And the 8 noughts and I suppose 9 noughts for sort of Japanese and Finns and what have you, those guys are very good at bringing up demolition charges and using them because they've got the extra movement points. And I suppose they can use flamethrowers as well if there's no heroes around. And when you're defending those low value leaders, the 0 leaders can usefully be used to lay fire lanes, where all you want is not to cower. That's what matters. The initial shot doesn't really matter. It's just do not cower with that machine gun. And in those circumstances, low value leaders can achieve that as well as high value leaders. Also, what I often use them for is to increase the fog of war. So the classic example would be, say you're defending with Germans. Say you're getting attacked with Americans, but he's got no tank support, and you, in your OB, you've got a Panzerschreck, which you're hardly ever going to find a value for using. Well, what you can do is, give the Schreck to the 6+1, stick him up front somewhere, and sometimes, especially, you can dummy something important in non-concealment terrain by doing that. All concealment terrain, of course, but given that you can't put dummies in non-concealment terrain, 6+1s with a useless Panzerschreck are very good. Or, stack the leader with a unit to make it look as if it's actually got a support weapon. So they can be used in sneaky ways to increase fog of war. That's all I can think of for now, and next time we'll look at more valuable leaders.
So what I love about that one there, Martin, is the idea of a 6+1 leader being used as a pretend machine gun, like as if they're holding the leader under a blanket or something.
Yeah. That is an interesting idea, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. All right, okay. Last bit, I'm going to show you the new feature of the Scenario Archive. Hang on a second. Okay, so we can see on the Scenario Archive, we've got a new menu now called Maps on the left-hand side. And if we click this, you can see a list of all the maps that are on the system, and you can tick the boxes to show whether or not you own a map. So just by clicking the map, you will say you confirmed it there. You've got to do anything else. You've got to save it or anything and untick it to say you don't own it. And by clicking each one, you'll see that there's an image for most of these maps. So some of the more obscure ones we haven't got images for yet, but I'll eventually sort that out. We've also got tags, so you can see that each map has been tagged. So, for example, this one is built up in city. These are a little bit subjective, so don't worry too much about if you want to try and tag some of these. Yeah, feel free. The bolder ones here you can see have been tagged. The ones that are a little bit lighter in colours have not had any tags assigned to them. So if you're an admin on the Scenario Archive, you can add the tags. We've got village, farmland, rural, historical, whatever. And it means you can search for them. So if I want to search for maps that have got churches, for example, I can click church and I can see that, board 63's got a church and board 68's got a church and things like this. So I can do that. And the same again, if I want to find churches with gullies as well, then I can do this and find that this is actually the only one so far that we've got tagged. With both of them. If you want to find a particular map itself, you can just pop the number in. So map 12, and you can see we've got 12 and 12A and bits and pieces. And finally, this button here, the add maps to your publications, from your publications, what that does is looks at your publication list. So that's the list inside here with all the ones that are ticked. And for every map every publication that's ticked, you can click this and then it will pull the maps that have been associated with those publications into your collection. So that will be the ticks. It won't take any off, so it doesn't reset the maps solution or anything like that. And what that means is that you can come to the advanced search, and down here now you can see that there's maps in my collection. And if you tick this, it will only allow you to select or search for scenarios that have maps that you own. So for example, if there's a scenario with 2 maps in them and one you own and one you don't, it will not be shown as part of the search. So that's hopefully useful for some people. If you are looking as a scenario designer for a particular map, this might help. If you are interested in just finding scenarios that you can play because of the maps you own, again, tick that box after you've got all the maps selected that you need to. And if you're interested in doing any kind of tagging to help tag these, it's as simple as basically just clicking some of these buttons. So for example, for this one here where I'm going to add the stream, all we're doing really is literally just clicking and adding the stream, and the tag list is now done here. So again, if I want to find all the maps with streams, I can see here they all are. So hopefully that makes sense and is useful for some people. If you've got any feedback on that or any other features you'd like me to add, please let me know. This is available for everybody, not just patrons. So have at it.
Just gets better and better.
Well, there we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Big thanks to all our patrons. Chris Gammon, I know, signed up to Patreon. He was, we talked about him last time for the ASL Gap. So many thanks to him and to all the other patrons that help support the archive. It does cost a lot of money to host. You guys absolutely are able to help fund that. So if you're a user of the archive and you feel like it's worth supporting, it's not free, but all your money goes towards the hosting and also anything that we can do in terms of the channel. So big thank you to that. Patreon.com/ASL Scenario Archive. Martin, anything else from you?
No, I think we're done. I'm going to have to go and run down some desperados now.
Okay. What are you? Oh, because of your deputy. This is back to you. These goddamn outlaws, you're gonna. So it's yeah. Was that your Welsh accent?
That was my Welsh accent. Yeah. I hope I haven't misinterpreted my role as I turn into the police station dragging somebody dead.
Good stuff. All right, Martin. Yeah. Thanks very much. Apologies for the delay on this one, and we'll see you again soon for the next one.
Take care. Bye
bye. Hello, Martin. Welcome to episode 102 of Eliminating Rounds. How are you feeling? We've got each other's t-shirts on. We've worn the same one. Yeah, yours looks good. Yeah, exactly.